Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. The greatest mystery is not the unknown, it's the man who refuses to be defined. Sigma males are the enigmas of modern masculinity, the ones who walk a path so different it makes society scratch its collective head. They've been mythologized as lone wolves, silent masterminds, or emotionless rebels. Yet beneath the endless buzzwords and stereotypes lies one glaring truth. Most people completely misunderstand what it means to be a Sigma male. Here's a fun fact to set the stage. The term Sigma male wasn't even coined by psychologists. It emerged from internet culture. And just like any internet phenomenon, it's been wrapped in myths, misconceptions, and memes. No, being a Sigma male does not mean you live in your mom's basement plotting the downfall of alpha males everywhere. So let's separate the fact from fiction, the depth from the drama. Buckle up, because the truth about Sigma males is far more intriguing and often far more surprising than the myths everyone loves to believe. Number 1. Myth. Sigmas are selfish or self-centered. One of the biggest misconceptions about Sigma males is that they're selfish or self-centered, driven solely by their own goals and desires. This myth stems from how Sigmas prioritize their time and energy. They focus on what truly matters to them, often setting boundaries that others may misinterpret as a lack of concern. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Sigmas aren't selfish. They're selective. Unlike people who spread themselves thin trying to please everyone, Sigmas invest deeply in relationships and causes that resonate with their values. Their independence and self-reliance don't mean they disregard others. Rather, they understand the importance of taking care of themselves first, so they can show up fully for the people they care about. It's the classic, you can't pour from an empty cup mentality, but Sigmas take it seriously. Their approach to life might look unconventional to the outside world, but it's rooted in authenticity. A Sigma doesn't engage in hollow gestures or superficial interactions just to fit societal expectations. When they help someone, it's because they truly want to, not because they feel obligated. This makes their actions more meaningful and their relationships more genuine. Far from being self-centered, Sigmas often have a strong sense of justice and empathy. They champion individuality and encourage others to live authentically, offering support in quiet but impactful ways. They don't need to broadcast their generosity or seek recognition for their contributions, which might make their kindness easy to overlook. In reality, the Sigma male's so-called selfishness is a form of self-discipline and self-respect. By refusing to sacrifice their core values for external validation, they become a rare force of integrity in a world full of pretense. It's not selfish, it's honest. At number 2, myth. Sigma males are lone wolves by choice. The idea that Sigma males are lone wolves by choice is one of the most persistent myths out there. People imagine them as aloof wanderers who actively avoid human connection, but that's not the full picture. Sigmas aren't against socializing, they're just selective about where, how, and with whom they spend their time. It's not about rejecting others. It's about protecting their energy and valuing meaningful connections over surface-level interactions. Unlike those who seek constant validation from group settings, Sigmas don't feel the need to prove themselves through social status or the number of friends they have. They aren't driven by the fear of missing out or the pressure to belong to a particular clique. This independence often gets misinterpreted as antisocial behavior, but Sigmas aren't avoiding people. They're avoiding the noise. They thrive in environments where authenticity reigns, and small, close-knit circles give them the freedom to be themselves. When Sigmas choose solitude, it's not an act of rebellion or loneliness. For them, being alone is a way to recharge, think deeply, and reconnect with their personal goals and values. It's an intentional choice, not a personality flaw. In fact, their time away from the crowd often leads to incredible creativity and clarity of thought, which they bring back into their relationships and interactions. What people don't realize is that Sigmas are fully capable of forming strong, lasting connections. They just prioritize quality over quantity. They don't need constant company, but when they do let someone into their world, it's with purpose and depth. So no, They're not lone wolves because they dislike people. They're lone wolves because they know the value of their own company and won't compromise it for shallow interactions. Number 3. Myth. Sigmas are cold and emotionless. The idea that Sigmas are cold or emotionless is one of the most inaccurate and unfair assumptions about them. While they may not outwardly express their emotions as openly or frequently as others, this doesn't mean they lack feelings or empathy. Sigmas are highly introspective and emotionally intelligent. They simply process and express their emotions differently. Rather than wearing their hearts on their sleeves, Sigmas tend to internalize their thoughts and feelings, taking time to understand and work through them on their own. This doesn't mean they are shutting others out. It's just their way of maintaining control and clarity over their emotional landscape. They value emotional depth and authenticity, which is why they don't engage in dramatic or performative displays of emotion. For Sigmas, actions often speak louder than words, and their care and commitment are usually demonstrated through quiet but meaningful gestures. Sigmas also possess a strong sense of emotional boundaries. They're unlikely to share their innermost feelings with just anyone, but this isn't out of coldness. It's out of a desire to protect their emotional energy and ensure their vulnerability is shared with people they truly trust. Once they form a deep connection, they are incredibly loyal and supportive, often offering a steady, calming presence to those they care about. It's worth noting that Sigmas are often empathetic in ways that go unnoticed. They might not outwardly console someone with big gestures, but they're the type to listen deeply, offer practical advice, or silently help behind the scenes. Their emotional depth is subtle, but it's no less real. Far from being cold, Sigmas are deliberate with their emotions. They avoid unnecessary drama and focus on meaningful connections, which makes their feelings all the more genuine when they choose to share them. At number 4. Myth: they are alpha males in disguise. The belief that Sigma males are just alpha males in disguise is a misunderstanding of what truly defines a Sigma. People often assume Sigmas secretly crave the same dominance and power as alphas but prefer to achieve it quietly or indirectly. In reality, Sigmas don't care about the alpha-beta hierarchy at all. They've opted out entirely. For them, life isn't a competition to assert authority or command attention. Instead, they measure success by how well their life aligns with their personal values and goals. While alphas thrive on recognition, leadership roles, and social validation, Sigmas operate on a different wavelength. They don't seek control over others, nor do they want to follow someone else's rules. Their focus is internal. They prioritize self-mastery, independence, and fulfillment. This doesn't mean they lack ambition. In fact, Sigmas are often highly driven. The difference is that their drive comes from within, not from a need to outperform or outshine others. Sigmas aren't interested in proving their worth by climbing a social or professional ladder. They value freedom over hierarchy and authenticity over status. This often makes them appear as wildcards, unpredictable and hard to categorize, because they refuse to play by the rules of traditional social structures. If anything, Sigmas disrupt the alpha-beta narrative simply by existing. They show that you can live a fulfilling, impactful life without competing for dominance or recognition. Their power doesn't come from controlling others, but from being fully in control of themselves. They're not covert alphas. They're something entirely different. Individuals who've chosen their own path and redefined success on their terms. That's what makes them so intriguing and misunderstood. Number 5. Myth: Sigmas are cynical and negative. People often label Sigma males as cynical, assuming their introspective nature and refusal to follow societal norms mean they view the world negatively. This couldn't be further from the truth. Sigmas aren't driven by pessimism. They're realists who think deeply about life's complexities. If anything, their introspection gives them a unique ability to find solutions and opportunities where others see dead ends. Their tendency to question the status quo isn't about rejecting everything, it's about wanting things to make sense. They analyze systems, traditions, and ideas not to tear them down, but to understand them fully. When something doesn't align with logic or fairness, they won't pretend it does just to fit in. This skepticism can be mistaken for negativity, but it's really a form of intellectual honesty. What sets Sigmas apart is their quiet optimism. They don't sugarcoat the harsh realities of life, but they believe in the power of personal growth and individual action. Where others might get bogged down by obstacles, Sigmas take a step back, reassess, and figure out how to move forward. They're not the type to wallow in defeat, they're problem solvers, constantly looking for ways to adapt and thrive. This blend of realism and quiet hope makes them resilient. They don't expect the world to hand them success, but they trust in their ability to carve out their own path. While they may not shout their optimism from the rooftops, it's there, in their determination to create a life that aligns with their values and in their belief that change, while difficult, is possible. So, no, Sigmas aren't cynical. They're just too focused on meaningful action to waste time on fake smiles and empty positivity. Beneath their calm exterior is a profound confidence in their ability to navigate life's chaos on their own terms. Number 6. Myth. Sigmas are always antisocial. The idea that Sigmas are inherently antisocial is a complete misunderstanding of their nature. While it's true that they don't thrive in loud, crowded spaces or large social settings, this doesn't mean they dislike people or avoid human connection altogether. In fact, Sigmas often crave meaningful interactions. They just prefer quality over quantity. Unlike those who enjoy being the center of attention, Sigmas find fulfillment in more intimate settings. They gravitate toward one-on-one conversations or small groups where they can engage deeply, discuss topics that matter, and form authentic bonds. Superficial small talk and shallow networking events aren't their thing. Not because they're socially inept, but because they see no point in spreading their energy thin across surface-level interactions. Sigmas value their time and emotional energy, and they're selective about how they use it. They won't show up to every event or say yes to every social invitation, but when they do invest in someone, they do it fully. This focused approach to relationships makes their connections more genuine and impactful, even if their social circle isn't as wide as others. Labeling Sigmas as antisocial often stems from misunderstanding their preference for solitude. Alone time isn't a rejection of others. It's a necessity for their mental clarity and well-being. They recharge by stepping back, reflecting, and recalibrating. This makes them even better at fostering connections when they re-engage with the world. So no, Sigmas aren't antisocial. They simply operate on a different social frequency, one that prioritizes depth over breadth. While they may not be the life of the party, they're often the ones having the most meaningful conversations in the corner of the room. That's not antisocial, it's intentional living. Number 7. Myth. They dislike structure or routine. The myth that Sigmas dislike structure or routine is rooted in the assumption that independence means chaos or a refusal to conform. In reality, Sigmas understand the importance of structure. They just don't subscribe to rigid systems imposed by others. Instead, they design their own frameworks that align with their goals, values, and personal rhythm. For them, autonomy and structure go hand in hand. Sigmas thrive when they have the freedom to build a routine that suits their individual needs. They don't blindly follow traditional 9-to-5 schedules or societal expectations if those don't serve them. However, they are far from disorganized or aimless. In fact, their routines are often meticulously thought out, tailored to maximize productivity and allow for the flexibility they cherish. What sets Sigmas apart is their ability to balance discipline with freedom. They might structure their day around activities that foster creativity, self-improvement, or focus, but they leave room for spontaneity. This adaptability is what makes their approach to structure so effective. They can maintain order without feeling trapped by it. Sigmas also view structure as a tool, not a constraint. They use it to manage their time, energy, and priorities efficiently. For example, a Sigma may follow a morning ritual that helps them center themselves or set boundaries to ensure they have time for deep work or personal reflection. These self-imposed systems allow them to achieve their goals without sacrificing the independence they value so highly. So it's not that Sigmas dislike structure. They simply reject one-size-fits-all solutions. Their approach proves that freedom and routine aren't opposites, but can coexist beautifully when the structure is built on personal terms. This balance is a key part of what makes them so effective and self-reliant. Number 8. Myth. Sigmas reject leadership roles. The idea that Sigmas reject leadership roles entirely is a misunderstanding of their approach to authority and influence. While they don't chase traditional leadership positions or crave titles, they are far from incapable of leading. In fact, Sigmas often excel as leaders, just not in the conventional top-down way society typically defines leadership. Sigmas value independence and authenticity, so the idea of leading through hierarchy or exerting authority over others doesn't appeal to them. They don't feel the need to dominate or control. Instead, they prefer to lead by example, using their actions, ideas, and innovation to inspire and guide others. Their influence comes not from their position in a hierarchy, but from the respect and trust they naturally earn by staying true to themselves and delivering results. When necessary, Sigmas will step into leadership roles, but they do so on their own terms. They won't adopt a cookie-cutter leadership style or conform to outdated expectations just to fit the part. Instead, they focus on problem-solving, fostering collaboration, and creating an environment where people can thrive without micromanagement. This makes their leadership more inclusive and adaptable, often earning them a loyal following without them actively seeking it. What sets Sigmas apart is their ability to lead without ego. They don't need the spotlight or the power trip that often comes with leadership roles. They are content to lead from the background if it means achieving their goals or helping a team succeed. This understated but effective leadership style proves that influence isn't about titles or positions. It's about the ability to inspire, innovate, and make an impact. So while Sigmas may reject traditional notions of leadership, they embody a more modern, thoughtful form of it that prioritizes results and authenticity over hierarchy. Number 9. Myth. They don't care about relationships. The myth that Sigmas don't care about relationships is a misconception rooted in their preference for quality over quantity. While they may not seek constant social validation or collect friendships and romantic entanglements like some people do, this doesn't mean they are indifferent to relationships. In fact, Sigmas value deep, meaningful connections more than almost anything else. The difference is that they are extremely selective about where they invest their time and energy. Sigmas are not the type to pursue relationships just for the sake of it. They're not interested in superficial connections or maintaining a wide social circle out of obligation. Instead, they prioritize relationships that align with their core values, where both parties can offer genuine support, respect, and understanding. Whether it's a romantic partner, close friends, or family, Sigmas look for authenticity, emotional depth, and mutual growth in their relationships. They don't waste time on relationships that feel transactional or shallow. Sigmas understand that true connections take effort and vulnerability, and they're willing to invest in people who are equally committed to fostering a genuine bond. This approach might make their social circles smaller, but it also makes those relationships far more meaningful. In romantic relationships, Sigmas can be incredibly loyal, supportive, and attentive, but only if they feel a deep, authentic connection with their partner. They value independence, but that doesn't mean they shy away from intimacy. They just need a partner who respects their need for space and autonomy while also nurturing the bond they share. Sigmas aren't apathetic about relationships, they simply approach them with discernment and care. They seek quality over quantity and form connections that contribute to their personal growth and well-being. For Sigmas, the value of a relationship isn't measured by how many people are in it, but by how deeply it enriches their life. Number 10. Myth. They never seek help or support. The idea that Sigmas never seek help or support is a common misconception rooted in their independent nature. While it's true that Sigmas prefer to rely on themselves and solve problems on their own, this doesn't mean they operate in complete isolation. They are fully aware of the importance of collaboration and support when the situation calls for it, but they approach it with intention and selectiveness. For Sigmas, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a calculated decision. They don't lean on others out of convenience or habit. They seek support when it aligns with their goals, values, or when collaboration offers the most efficient solution. This intentional approach ensures that when Sigmas do ask for help, it's meaningful and purposeful. They're not the type to offload responsibilities or expect others to do the heavy lifting. They view teamwork as a partnership, not a dependency. Their independence is not about rejecting others, but about maintaining control over their path. Sigmas value authenticity in their interactions and choose to surround themselves with people who share their vision or can contribute in a way that feels genuine. This makes their collaborations highly effective, as both parties are equally invested in the outcome. Furthermore, Sigmas often offer support to others without hesitation. While they might not seek help often, they are quick to provide it when they see an opportunity to make a difference. Their self-reliance isn't a barrier to connection, it's a foundation for balanced and mutually beneficial relationships. Independence, for Sigmas, is about knowing their own strengths and limits. They understand when to push forward alone and when to seek out the right kind of help. It's not isolation, it's self-awareness and strategic collaboration. In the end, the Sigma male isn't defined by the myths that surround him. He is defined by his own terms. While society often tries to fit him into predefined categories of success, social behavior, or ambition, the Sigma shatters these limitations. He is not an antisocial outcast or a misunderstood alpha. He is an individual who values authenticity over conformity, depth over superficiality, and personal freedom above all. His independence isn't about isolation, but about creating space for personal growth, genuine connections, and mastery over his own path. Sigmas reject the idea that success means following the crowd, and instead, they define success as living a life true to themselves. They don't need external validation or titles to know their worth. They create their own standards, and in doing so, they become leaders in their own right. They are the ones who quietly disrupt the status quo, not by force, but through quiet strength and an unwavering commitment to their values. So the next time you come across a Sigma, remember, he is not cold, indifferent, or uninterested in the world around him. He simply moves at his own pace, on his own terms. And if you're lucky enough to earn his trust and respect, you'll discover that the bonds he forms are deeper, more authentic, and more lasting than most. In a world full of noise and superficiality, the Sigma male stands as a reminder that true strength lies in knowing who you are and having the courage to live it. If you've made it this far, then you already know the truth about the Sigma male. There's far more to him than the myths and stereotypes. But if you want to dive deeper into more truths that the world tends to overlook, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, this is just the beginning. On this channel, we're breaking down the myths, uncovering the real stories, and showing you how to live life unapologetically on your own terms. Don't miss out on more content that will challenge your thinking and inspire you to embrace your true potential. Go ahead, subscribe now, because this journey is only going to get more interesting from here. You won't want to miss what's coming next.